Good afternoon, First Presbyterian Church and friends. I hope this Wednesday finds you well and enjoying all the gifts that come with the changing of the seasons. There's something about the fall that always brings me such joy. Perhaps it is the changing of the leaves, revealing to us a whole new color palette for us to enjoy, or the cooler air that livens up the spirit a bit. It always feels like a fresh new invitation to get outside and enjoy the wonders of creation. If you haven't discovered this about me already, you soon will learn that I am a sucker for good children's books. From the illustrations to the often lovable characters, children's books have a tremendous ability of saying a whole lot with just a few words. Days like these make me think of one of my favorite books called Little Tree by Loren Long. The book is full of beautiful illustrations, and on the very first page, we meet our main character, Little Tree. Once there was a little tree filled with little leaves. In the middle of a little forest lives our little tree who loves his life and his splendid leaves that help keep him cool on the long hot days of summer. Birds and squirrels play in his branches. He is filled with hope to grow up great, big, and strong. Life is perfect, just the way it is. But then autumn arrives, and with it the cool winds that ruffle Little Tree's leaves. One by one, the other trees around him drop their leaves, facing the cold of winter head on. But not Little Tree. He clings to his leaves, hugging them as tightly as he can, unwilling to let go. As the story continues, we see that year after year, Little Tree remains unchanged. His leaves all brown and withered, his growth stunted. He stands small amongst the big trees of the forest. Life grows up all around him. The birds, squirrels, and foxes try to encourage him to drop his leaves, but he just hugs them tighter and tighter. Finally, one winter, Little Tree looked up at the great big trees, and he remembers when the trees had all been his size. And finally, he has the courage to drop his leaves and feel the harsh cold of winter. But then, something happens. We turn a few pages and find that spring has returned. And there in that great big forest stands Little Tree, standing tall and strong, full of new life. I'm reminded by this book and in this season of just what possibilities can be found when we let go of what we often cling to so tightly in our lives. When entering into a new season, the old can inhibit the new if we allow it. I wonder what you might be having a hard time letting go of these days. Perhaps it is the routines that we feel ruled by, or the weight of constant worry, or the burden of carrying around anger, pride, or guilt. Maybe it's the expectations of others that we feel weighed down by, or just the comfort of doing things the way they've always been done. What would you let go of? I cannot help but think of the words of the prophet Isaiah, which speaks of God's promise and hope for us. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. God is at work in every season with every change, urging us all to let go of the things that keep us from experiencing the new thing that God is doing all around us. Lately, I've tried to pay attention when the feelings rise within me of Like when I thought life would be back to normal by now, or the things that previously worked or came easily in ministry no longer look the same. When I experience these things and try to cling tightly to those old ways, I'm working to remind myself that God is seeking to do a new thing, and to lean into that invitation to let go of the former things. It's certainly not always easy, and sometimes it means, like Little Tree, we might have to weather a colder winter, but the promise is that spring is just around the corner. I'm trusting God that with letting go, there will be new growth, new life, a new thing. In this fall season, let's learn a lesson from the trees around us. Consider what you are holding on to that could be preventing new life in the season ahead. May the courage of letting go be with you this season, and the promise of growth and God doing a new thing uphold you. Peace, friends.